Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Lean Publishing Tip of the Day live stream. Today, we're going to be talking about, why there are some very good reasons to write a book that can help you grow your business. Especially if you're running a small business or you're a founder of a startup, or especially if you're running a consultancy, writing a book can actually be a great way to increase your visibility, get yourself discovered, things like that. As usual, we spend the first 2 minutes doing a little housekeeping here, so everybody knows when they're watching the recording, they can just skip to 2 minutes in. Every one of these live streams has an accompanying blog post and is also recorded for posterity and published on our YouTube channel at LeanPub on the Lean Publishing Tip of the Day playlist. If you go to our blog at leanpub.com/blog and you don't see the accompanying article, you can just click the magnifying glass and search for the keywords that you're seeing on the screen here. The articles are pretty helpful because they have links and stuff like that. And if you prefer reading to watching someone talk and show things, obviously a blog post is a good way to do that. You can also often find on our Author Help Center, which is easy to find online. We've got over 1,000 articles to help authors in their self-publishing and writing journey, particularly in general, but also specifically on LeanPub. So check that out that resource. If you found wherever you found us, please like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. In particular, if you're a LeanPub author or an aspiring LeanPub author, I highly encourage and ask you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. The more people subscribe there, the more people discover the channel. If you're an author and you want to get discovered, every single follow helps, as you hear from all the podcasts and all the blogs and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in learning about new releases and what other LeanPub authors are up to and these tips of the day, I highly recommend that you subscribe to our YouTube channel at LeanPub. So with that said, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So welcome to today's Lean Publishing Tip of the Day, where we're going to be talking about some of the reasons it's a good idea to write a book to help grow your business. One of the kind of LeanPub origin stories is that LeanPub was initially bootstrapped, which meant that we had had a consulting business, and where we made money and we had employees and stuff like that. And one of LeanPub's co-founders, Peter Armstrong, had written a book that actually got pirated by somebody who then contacted us looking to hire us for their client, and that became one of our most successful clients that we had as a consulting business. Having books out there is a great way of getting you discovered. But it's as I say here in the blog post, it's a pretty brief blog post today, but writing a book is a very good way not only of positioning yourself as an authority or an expert or a cutting edge thinker in your area, but it's also a way of proving it, right? If you write a book and it's not that good, if you don't have that much to say, you won't finish it. People are going to read it and they're not going to like it, that kind of thing. So actually writing a book is challenging yourself to genuinely contribute something to your area. And if you're running a business, I guarantee you do have something to contribute if you have a passion for it. Even if you're not kind of successful yet, definitely writing a book is a really good way to focus your mind, focus your thoughts, and draw people's attention to what you think they should be thinking about and to yourself at the same time. I've just got an example here from Matthew Skelton and Victoria Morgan Smith, both of whom I believe have been on our podcast in the past. This is a book about internal tech conferences that they wrote through their publisher account on LeanPub for Conflux. We do actually have publisher accounts on LeanPub, but it's funny, this, not to digress, but we'd love it if big publishing companies all had their books up on LeanPub and special LeanPub publisher accounts. But one of the sort of types of adopters of our publisher accounts were actually companies, small consultancies, things like that. People who had books or wanted to write books to promote their consultancy, or to just, sort of have something to give away to clients, which is a really great thing, by the way. And if you write your book on LeanPub, we have a print ready PDF output feature that you can use. So you can just click a button and obviously configure some settings, but then you can go put your book on Amazon KDP or Ingram Spark and get print copies, which are great to bring to conferences, great to send to prospective clients, things like that. Just to sort of walk you through some examples to make it kind of real. Here's a consulting company called Emanciperta that we really love. They've published a lot of books on LeanPub, including some test books. But yeah, this is what one consultancy and what they look like. Here's another one. This is the one I was just talking about with Matthew Skelton and Victoria Morgan Smith. They've got these books, a number of books up on LeanPub. They have a kind of similar kind of, you can see they've got a kind of like recognizable brand, which is a really good thing to do. And they've iterated on it, changing the colors for the different books. Yeah, and here's that book that I was showing you. You can see like what having a book, is kind of like really kind of, there's a little banner for the publisher account on top if you set that up. But you can see just how like kind of impressive and like obviously good, this book is. And it would, if you were looking at that, you would then sort of look further into, oh, who are the people who wrote it? You'd learn about the book. And then you'd learn about the authors below. And then, if you're a consulting company, it makes you seem kind of more real to people to have something like this out there. Here's another example of some consultants who've had some great success on LeanPub with books. And this is Growing Agile with Karen Greaves and Sam Lang. They've got a number of books up on they're under their Growing Agile brand. These books are all about, kind of, if you know what Agile is, you'll know what they're writing about. But there's a lot of kind of coaching and stuff like that. I believe what they did, it's been a while. I think they were both on the podcast as well in the past. I believe part of their business was offering training sessions and things like that to people, sometimes multi-day training sessions. And so they had, having books and stuff like that and sort of materials that they can publish and then give to people as is a way of kind of promoting their trainings, but also kind of, getting people up to speed on the training and stuff like that. So if you've already created a bunch of kind of training material or, kind of resources, turn them into books, get them up on LeanPub. It's a great way to kind of reach new people. And again, one thing you can do, for example, if you've got these books available, if someone signs up for your, webinar or your training session or something like that, you can offer them free coupon links for all these books, for example. And so then that's a way of giving people value for their sign up, things like that. Obviously, books are a great thing if someone goes to your website, whatever it is, and you could say, kind of give us your email address and you can get the book for free. Is a really great way of gathering email addresses for newsletters and contacts and things like that. When I was getting ready for this interview and thinking of books, one of the more recent ones that's by Max Guernsey and Lunil Dabir, who have a consultancy called Protocore. They've written this really amazing book called Ready. That's on LeanPub. This book obviously, stands alone on its own as a very, very good book that's introducing kind of very new ideas to product management and things like that. But it also there. The one thing you will discover, you'll see, oh, what a great book, what an interesting book. They've both been on the podcast, things like that. But if you go down, you'll find that they're consultants, and isn't that an interesting thing? If you're looking for people who are experts in something that you're already convinced, and then that you can sort of work with them, that's pretty amazing. One thing to mention too, so the sort of title of this live stream is about write a book to grow your business, but LeanPub actually also has the concept of courses, online courses. Essentially, you can think of it as being kind of like a book, but with quizzes and exercises that you can take, and a certificate that you can get at the end. We do have a service that can sort of turn a book into a course, which is pretty amazing, called Course AI. One thing you'll notice too, and this is a live stream for people who are self-published or business owners or consultants and things like that. One thing I would note, particularly about courses, is that you can charge a lot more for courses than you can for books. That's because of the extra work that's in there in quizzes and exercises and in getting the certificate and stuff like that. People might be buying this with a corporate training budget. You get their development hours in, stuff like that. But the courses are really, really robust kind of version. You can think of it as sort of turning a book into another kind of product that's in it. That's a great way of reaching new people and stuff like that. And then like I can think of all kinds of other consultants who've been on who published books on LeanPub throughout their careers, things like that. I think I'll probably do a separate live stream, not about business, but about just advancing your career. But obviously, a book, writing and publishing a book is a great way to do that. The interesting thing about LeanPub, of course, is that you don't have to have a book finished in order to be publishing it. LeanPub encourages you to publish early and publish often, as we say in our motto. And what that means is that if you decide, okay, I want to write a book, You can write one chapter and you can publish it on LeanPub. And when you add chapters, you just publish a new version of your book, and then everybody who's bought your book in the past gets the new chapter until the book is done, and they'll get the complete book in the end. But what that means is that in order to get the benefit of publishing a book, in order to reach new people or get discovered by new people for your business, you can do that with when you've just got one chapter. You don't have to have the complete book finished and published and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. And so that's a really, really, really great thing. It's also really good that you can kind of test the waters. You know, you can sort of, do you like writing? Do you want to publish? Do you want to write and publish a whole book? Write one chapter, see how it works out for you, see what kind of attention you get and stuff like that. So then you can write your book in progress on LeanPub. You can sort of, every time you publish a new version, like when you add a new chapter, it's like a little mini book launch. So if you're, I mean, I'm thinking of social media in general, but particularly if you're a business and you're a consultant or something like that, and you're on LinkedIn, every time you publish a new version of your book, it's a little mini book launch, and a genuine one. You know, check out my book. I've added a new chapter on this subject, blah, blah, blah. What can happen along the way is that people who have noticed what you're doing, that you're publishing a book in progress, is they might reach out to you and say, you know what, I'd really love to have a chapter on this, and I'd love to have a chapter on that, or I think you made a mistake. And then you can, but that's great, because then you can engage in debates with people about your, and hone your thinking on something and your way of communicating about it. So definitely, if you're running a consultancy, if you're running a business, if you're a startup founder, stuff like that, get started writing a book. You definitely, if you're doing all of those things, you definitely, I mean, your shingle is out saying, I have something to say, I have something to contribute. There's something I know, there's something I'm working on that's good and new and interesting in the world. My thoughts definitely have value to someone out there. And writing a book is a really great way to do that. So yeah, the topic of today's live stream for the Lean Publishing Tip of the Day was that might be a good idea to write a book to help grow your business and increase your audience and visibility. LeanPub is probably the best platform for doing this, because you can, get started publishing a book after you've written just one chapter, and you can add chapters as you go until the book is done. And if you jumped in late to the live stream, please go to our YouTube channel at LeanPub and find a playlist for Lean Publishing Tips of the Day there. You'll also find lots of great other video resources on our YouTube channel, like new release videos, like book launch videos, like podcast videos. There's some explainers and things like that. So definitely check it out. And thank you very much, everyone, for watching this live stream today.